What would drive a father to carry his son's severed head to the police station, begging for justice? In December 1990, a quiet village on the outskirts of Sheffield woke up to a chilling murder that shattered its peace. A young man brutally killed, left behind not just a horrifying crime scene, but also a trail of secrets, jealousy, and betrayal. As investigators pieced together the tangled web of relationships and motives, they uncovered truths more unsettling than the crime itself. This is the story of Michael Carter, a victim whose life and death left a mark on everyone around him. In the freezing cold of December 1990, the peaceful outskirts of Sheffield were shaken by a horrifying event. A gruesome murder took place at the humble home of the Carter family, leaving behind a chilling scene no one could forget. That night, around p.m., David Carter, the owner of the house, discovered the lifeless body of his 22-year-old son, Michael Carter, in an unimaginably horrific state. Michael's body lay motionless in the backyard, his head severed and carefully placed on an old wooden chair. This unsettling arrangement added to the haunting nature of the crime scene. In a state of utter panic, David ran straight to the nearest police station, clutching Michael's severed head and crying out for help. "Please, save my son. He didn't deserve to die like this." When law enforcement arrived at the scene, they immediately cordoned off the area and began their preliminary investigation. Flashlights illuminated the dark corners of the backyard, revealing gruesome details. Position of the body: Michael lay on his back on the ground, arms spread out. His clothing remained intact, with no apparent signs of struggle. The weapon, a blood-stained cleaver, was found a few meters away from the body. The blood on the blade was fresh, indicating it was the primary weapon. Unusual traces: muddy footprints led from the backyard to the main road, but disappeared into a nearby forest trail. Key evidence: a handkerchief embroidered with the letter T was found near the back door, partially stained with blood. Chief Investigator Mark Hamilton, who led the case, concluded, "This is not a random act of violence. Every detail points to a meticulously planned crime." David, the victim's father, though deeply shaken, managed to provide his account. He stated that Michael had been at home all day with nothing unusual occurring. Around p.m., David heard loud noises from the backyard, but didn't reach the scene in time. Neighbors also reported hearing strange noises that night, but no one dared to venture outside, as the area was known for being desolate and unsafe after dark. News of the murder spread quickly through the community. A once quiet village was now filled with fear and unanswered questions. Why was Michael targeted? Who could commit such a brutal act? As the crime scene remained secured and Michael's body was taken to the morgue for examination, investigators began their arduous task of piecing together clues to identify the perpetrator. Investigators quickly delved into Michael Carter's personal life. To uncover the motive for his death and identify the perpetrator, they focused on his relationships and the hidden aspects of his seemingly ordinary existence. Michael was a 22-year-old young man known for his friendly demeanor, but reserved nature. He worked at a local woodworking factory, where colleagues praised his meticulous skills and dedication. However, behind this image, Michael's life was far from simple. Interviews with David Carter, Michael's father, revealed troubling details. Michael often avoided talking about his friends. He'd leave the house at night without saying where he was going. "I worried about him, but I thought it was just youthful stuff." Neighbors noted that Michael had a few minor conflicts with some young men in the village, particularly over debts and money. The investigation uncovered two significant individuals closely tied to Michael. Thomas Reed, 25, Michael's childhood friend who had grown distant in recent years. Thomas was rumored to be involved in illegal activities, including smuggling timber and gambling. Sarah Bennett, 24, Michael's ex-girlfriend. The two had broken up a year earlier, but friends claimed Sarah often tried to contact Michael and showed signs of jealousy when he became close to another woman. A torn photograph of Michael and Thomas was found in Michael's bedroom. Only Michael's image remained, further hinting at a strained relationship. Sarah Bennett also became a key focus of the investigation, when a witness claimed to have seen her near Michael's home on the night of the murder. However, Sarah denied this, stating she had been at home and had no involvement in the incident. While searching Michael's room, investigators discovered a notebook with scattered entries. One chilling line read, "I know I can't escape this. They'll come for me." Elsewhere in the notebook, the initials appeared repeatedly, matching Thomas Reed's name. Other notes suggested Michael was being threatened, though the entries didn't specify by whom. Chief Investigator Mark Hamilton commented, "We're looking at a web of relationships. Michael was clearly not the victim of a random attack. His past and present TIs are creating motives we need to untangle." As the team probed deeper into Thomas's background, they uncovered his history of violent disputes. Meanwhile, Sarah admitted to having a major argument with Michael weeks before the murder, but insisted she would never harm him. The investigation began to branch out. Evidence from the crime scene, including the handkerchief embroidered with T, further implicated Thomas. However, Sarah's apparent jealousy and presence near the scene raised questions about her involvement. As more pieces of the puzzle emerged, Michael Carter's story became one of entangled relationships, simmering tensions, and hidden motives. The forensic team conducted a thorough examination of Michael Carter's body. The autopsy report revealed cause of death: a forceful and precise cut to the neck caused immediate death. Other marks: minor bruises on the wrists suggested Michael had been restrained. The weapon: the cleaver found at the scene were fingerprints that didn't match Michael or his family. Investigators focused on the handkerchief embroidered with T. Analysis showed the thread used for the embroidery was expensive, imported, and sold at only a few stores in the city. Thomas Reed, Michael's estranged childhood friend, became the first suspect brought in for questioning. Under the glare of the interrogation room lights, Thomas remained calm, but visibly irritated. "I haven't spoken to Michael in months. That handkerchief isn't mine." However, police records painted a different picture. Thomas had a history of violent disputes over property and was seen near Michael's house days before the murder. Meanwhile, Sarah Bennett continued to be a person of interest, despite the lack of direct evidence against her. A witness claimed to have seen her near Michael's house on the night of the murder, but Sarah denied it. "I was home all night. I have no reason to go to Michael's house after everything that happened between us." When pressed about her jealousy, Sarah admitted feeling uneasy about Michael's new relationship, but insisted she'd never hurt him. She deflected questions about previous arguments with vague responses. Investigators expanded their search by interviewing Michael's acquaintances. A co-worker disclosed that Michael had appeared stressed in the days leading up to his death, saying he felt like someone was watching him. He wouldn't say who it was, but he always seemed on edge. Another clue came from a neighbor who reported seeing a black car parked near Michael's house around p.m. on the night of the murder. The description matched Thomas Reed's car. Entries in Michael's notebook continued to play a key role in the investigation. The ominous line, "They'll come for me," and repeated mentions of her pointed strongly toward Thomas Reed. Additional evidence came in the form of a broken wristwatch found at the crime scene. Forensics identified it as belonging to Thomas. When confronted, Thomas faltered and gave an unconvincing explanation. "Yes, that's my watch, but I don't know how it got there. I might have lost it earlier." While the investigation heavily implicated Thomas, another name surfaced: James Porter, the owner of the woodworking factory where Michael worked. Known for his shady business dealings, James had a motive rooted in financial disputes with Michael. A witness confirmed seeing James meeting with Michael the afternoon before the murder. This raised the possibility of James's involvement, either directly or indirectly. Chief Investigator Mark Hamilton faced a tangled web of evidence. Both Thomas and James had clear motives, while Sarah remained an unpredictable variable. The truth seemed buried within the gaps between the leads, demanding patience and persistence to uncover. Sheffield investigators had pieced together much of the puzzle surrounding Michael Carter's death, yet critical gaps remained. To crack the case, the team needed a breakthrough evidence to connect the dots and unmask the killer. The black car reported near Michael's house on the night of the murder became a pivotal clue. After reviewing traffic cameras and witness testimonies, investigators identified the car as belonging to Thomas Reed. This discovery deepened the suspicions against him. When confronted with this evidence, Thomas changed his story several times. "Yes, I drove past the area, but I didn't stop at Michael's house. I swear I wasn't involved." However, GPS data from Thomas's car contradicted his claims, showing that he had parked outside Michael's house for approximately 20 minutes that night. This was no coincidence, the police concluded. While Thomas remained under scrutiny, new leads pointed toward James Porter, Michael's employer. An anonymous informant told police that Michael had recently reported James to tax authorities over illicit business dealings. Further financial checks revealed that Michael had received a large sum of money from an anonymous account shortly before his death. Investigators suspected this could have been a bribe from James to silence Michael, but when the bribe failed, James might have orchestrated the murder. Chief Investigator Mark Hamilton observed, "Michael wasn't just a random murder victim. He was a threat to people desperate to protect their secrets." Sarah Bennett, Michael's ex-girlfriend, continued to be a person of interest. Although she maintained her innocence, under pressure, Sarah admitted she had met Michael on the night of the murder. "I just wanted to talk to him. We argued, but I didn't hurt him. I left right after." Police uncovered that Sarah had been aware of tensions between Michael and Thomas. She even warned Michael about potential danger, suggesting she knew more than she initially let on. This revelation positioned Sarah as a key witness in understanding the sequence of events leading to Michael's death. After weeks of mounting evidence, police staged a strategic confrontation between Thomas Reed and James Porter. In the interrogation room, James denied any involvement in Michael's death and deflected suspicion back onto Thomas. "He told me he would take care of the Michael problem. I had nothing to do with it." Under the weight of the mounting evidence and James's accusations, Thomas eventually broke down and confessed. He admitted to visiting Michael that night to confront him over a gambling debt. Their meeting escalated into a heated argument, during which Thomas lost control and killed Michael. In an attempt to mislead investigators, he staged the crime scene to make it appear ritualistic and planted the handkerchief to implicate someone else. While Thomas confessed to the murder, police suspected James Porter's involvement in covering up the crime. Further investigation revealed that James had transferred a large sum of money to Thomas shortly after Michael's death. Investigators believed this was hush money to prevent Thomas from revealing James's illegal dealings. Unfortunately, due to insufficient evidence directly linking James to the murder, he was only charged with financial crimes. Thomas Reed, however, faced a life sentence for first-degree murder. The murder of Michael Carter concluded after months of relentless investigation. The quiet village of Sheffield finally breathed a sigh of relief, though the scars of the tragedy lingered. The closing words of the reporter: "This case serves as a stark reminder that justice is not just about finding the killer, but also about uncovering the truths hidden in the darkest corners of human relationships." Michael Carter's story is a haunting testament to courage, betrayal, and the relentless pursuit of justice.